So we are here, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this new webinar by Solarplaza together with Italia Solare. Already joining us is Paolo Rocco Viscontini, the president. Hi, Paolo. Good to see you. Always.
Hi, Nicola. And,
always.
Hello to everybody.
Always great to have you with us. Today we're going to be talking about the latest developments in the Italian solar PV market. I'm going to maybe spoiler it a bit. There's going to be a lot, so let's not. Of course, we have 1 hour of time, so we won't be able to deep dive into the exact details of everything. But of course, together with the help of Paolo, we're going to give a nice overview of what are the latest developments in terms of residential, C&I, utility scale, in terms also of permitting and latest regulations. I'm going to give you just a quick walkthrough before giving the word to Paolo. Unfortunately, I see my slides do not change. Let's see if I can quickly ask maybe my colleagues here for Sarah, but here we go. Just a few words about Solarplaza. I know it's from all the conferences this year. We already hit 200, so quite a nice milestone, and in really quite all over the world. But of course, that's not the only line. Recently, also focusing on Solarplaza consultancy. Let's see, maybe if we can just quickly show the next slide. Apologies for that, where we actually support a lot of developers, IPPs, in terms of new projects, co-development agreements, and scouting for new opportunities in new markets. And something we're very proud of is also the Solarplaza Foundation, whereby we also support and help some charitable projects, of course, always related to PV all around the world. We can quickly maybe show the slide of the with the agenda for today. Just a few notes from my end, presentation by Paolo, and then we're also gonna go into the Q&A. Please send your questions. There are a lot of attendees today, so I'm just going to ask if you can refine them and make them maybe very precise. We'll dedicate a question time at the end, so send them in. Also, if you have any technical issues, my colleagues Bo and Selena are here to help. And we will be sending the presentation slides and the full recordings via email. Just give us 1 or 2 days. So a quick joke here, Paolo. Any forecast will be recorded. So let's make sure to put down some proper numbers there. Yeah. So of course, a reminder. We're also organizing our annual Solarplaza Summit Italy in Rome, which is going to be hosted on July 13th. So also maybe you're going to tell a few words at the end of that. And I'll also maybe make a quick introduction about you, Paolo. Of course, you are the founder and president of Italia Solare, which is the main PV association in Italy. Already for allowing this job quite some time, and also founded and leading Enerpoint, which most of you may know in the Italian PV sector. But of course, Paolo, I see that today most of and a lot of your efforts are concentrated on Italia Solare and really promoting not just on an institutional point, but also among members, more awareness and pushing for policy and developments. That said, Paolo, I leave the stage to you for the presentation. Last reminder again: send the questions in at the end of the presentation. We'll have the Q&A, and Paolo, your turn to go.
Thank you very much, Nicola. Thanks to Solarplaza for this invitation. I'm happy to share with you the latest developments regarding Italian solar market. The target of this presentation is to give a global overview. As you can imagine, there are many details that will be better analyzed during the Solarplaza event in Rome in July. So I try anyway to give you a good overview regarding the market and considering how it is structured and so on. But let's start. Indeed, this is the agenda. A short presentation of Italia Solare, a few words of the PV effect over the electricity market, and then some numbers regarding the installations, so statistics, and then we will talk about the major application, residential, C&I, both together with the REC, Renewable Energy Communities, utility scale, and then the recovery plan that in Italy is called the PNRR. Some latest simplifications already done, and so some global reference regarding the developments and a few conclusion. So regarding Italia Solare, we started in 2015, the association. Now we are above 1,000 members covering all the value chain. We have an important community in our database of more than 17,000 companies or people interested in the market. We are organized with 15 working groups, quite active in involving the members to take part to the meetings, in which we enter into details of the different topics of interest of the association, of the sector. We also are active in the regions through regional representatives. We have now 38, and we are covering all Italy. As you can see on the right, we are very active in the lobbying activity, also giving some services in terms of consulting, basic service to basic consulting activities to the members, training, always updating the members regarding the new laws, and then we organize events, conferences to create networking opportunities. So let's see some interesting figures regarding the Italian electricity market. Here in this graph, you see for the first quarter of this year, the electricity price in euro per megawatt hour, and then in the horizontal axis you see from January to the end of March. We saw on the top the development of the daily maximum values, for both PUN, that is the national price of energy that is the same for customers, and the zonal price, our zonal prices, that is the price that is received, for instance, by the PV asset owner. And you see that on the top we see the price during the maximum price in this frame time. They are quite aligned, the PUN and the zonal price. But in the bottom side, you see the graph related to the minimum values. And here we have some surprises because in some areas, the energy price in the different hours of the day is going very low, even touching zero sometimes for some areas. You see the red color is Sardinia, for instance, that reached more times during this first quarter, €0 per megawatt hour. And the same also for Sicily is another area that touched quite a low price. What does it mean this? That the renewable are impacting the energy market price and the PV a lot also among the renewable. Just to summarize some interesting numbers, only in March 2023 in Sardinia, the price was below €20 per megawatt hour for 85 hours. And of these 85 hours, 42 hours were at €0 per megawatt hour. And in the other areas quite impacted by the renewable presence, Calabria, Sicily, and the south, that is another area of price zone, always in the same month, March, the price was below €20 per megawatt hour for 28 hours. In general, the energy price in the hours of PV production is showing a 20% level below the daily average. That is showing the strong impact that renewable can give. Obviously, this is not such a good news for the PV asset owners because well, a too low price. It's under for sure the business plan values. So, but this is something that we have to take into consideration. As association, obviously, our target is to support the market, and healthy market is not healthy, a market in which the selling price is almost zero. So very important is the storage topic, and also if we go to a different market price criterion, applying the zonal prices to the end users and not the average, that is the PUN, the National Unified Price. This would help to increase the consumption in the areas where the energy price is lower, and this will help to balance. Obviously, we know there are some tools, some programs to support the plans to guarantee the revenue stream through a fixed tariff for 20 years. These tariffs are obviously independent on these market price dynamics. So it's clear how it's important to consider this kind of some way support from GSC, but from the government through GSC. But in the same time, obviously also the energy traders can provide PPA supporting our plants. Obviously, during Solarplaza event, for sure, this so important topic will be better analyzed, because it's very important and we need the very good experts. So let's meet all together in Rome. Regarding some statistics, this is the cumulative installation, the blue lines year after year, and in the orange we see the every year installation. We can see that after the boom of the 12 years ago, we had a very calm time between 2014 and 2018 with an average of less than 400 megawatt per year, then 650 in 2020, 940 in 2021, and last year almost 2.5 gigawatt. Good, but still not enough. And we reached a total PV power installed of 25 gigawatt. If we see now the cumulated installation at Q1, end of Q1 of this year, we arrived at 26.1, so more than 1 gigawatt has been installed, and we reached the total number of 1.3 million of installation. You see, obviously, in terms of numbers, the big prevalence is the residential sector. Here you see the colors with the different power range, going from the residential to the utility scale. And but from the power point of view, connected power point of view, as power class, the dominating one is the class between 200 kilowatt and 1 megawatt, as the C&I sector is quite important, and also the sector, all the plants just under 1 megawatt, a lot on the ground of the first Contenergia projects. In only if you consider only this last quarter, we saw quite a good market, more than 1 gigawatt of connection, but the installations were done last year. So we are talking of connections. So we have, again, an important share from the residential sector, and no large projects above 10 megawatt. So here you can see the number, then you will receive the slides and you can see more carefully. If we make the comparison between Q1 2023 and Q1 2022, we can see the growth that we registered, that it is quite strong in all the areas, but above all in the residential sector, where the super bonus effect is clear. Super bonus, you know, was actually the very interesting support in terms of tax deduction at 110%, but it's finished practically. Okay, there are now some works that are must be finished by the end of June. So we will see still some connections of plants that are included in the super bonus, but I have already to tell you that the market is going down in terms of residential because it's a typical effect after a big booster given by a very generous subsidy scheme like it's been the super bonus. Then for the C&I, for sure, the increase of electricity price pushed the growth of the C&I applications. For this, well, we will talk later regarding how it is the situation right now. So in terms of, we see the capacity, sorry, the energy capacity, so the batteries market. We see here in this column the total capacity in terms of megawatt hour installed in Italy. We have 2.7 connected in Italy, actually 2.7 gigawatt hour, of which I tell you about 2 gigawatt hour has been installed only last year. Again, a big super bonus effect. We have more than 227,000 systems. And here you can see the distribution of these systems according to the PV plant to which they are connected. So it's a residential market, absolutely mainly. And again, I already tell you that now the market is quite weak after this strong growth due to the super bonus. Talking about now, let's see some comments regarding residential PV market, and then we will see also the other C&I and utility scale. Regarding the residential, as I mentioned, after the strong growth due to super bonus, mainly the stop to the credit transfer is slowing down the market as new plants. So now we are registering a decrease of the demand, even if obviously the solar plants are still quite convenient. So as Italia Solare, obviously we are already active in supporting the residential market. How? I was also in Rome yesterday talking with several politicians. Now, without going to 110%, that is a little too much, and obviously it's been stopped. We are now pushing a growth of the tax deduction for plants, solar plants that are including storage systems from 50 to 65%. This would be a good message to support also the storage systems. I'm sure that many of you are active in the batteries sector, so this is to support also you. And then we want to give the chance to the customers to choose between 10 years of time on which deducting the taxes, or like it is now, 10 years, or also adding 5 years. So this is a new tool, that new possibility that we want to add, because many customers have a higher revenue, and for them 10 years is too long. So the two things combined, we think that could help to give a strong growth, to again a growth to the market. Another point is, okay, we have many installers still in difficulties for the stranded tax credits that they have and they cannot use because they have no fiscal capability, and it's not possible anymore to transfer the credit. So we are asking that at least Cassa Depositi Prestiti, that is the Italian financial institution, mainly national, public, that they could create some financial tool to support these thousands of companies that are in difficulties for this situation. Let's talk now about C&I PV market. Obviously, the high energy prices gave a big push to the market last year, and again the first quarter connection connected plants were mostly installed at the end of last year. So what is now, well, and obviously the reason was for these customers to reduce the energy price. We also worked as Italia Solare to create further possibilities for C&I companies to make a solar plant. You know that quite often it happens that the roof is not good in terms of a static situation, or is not large enough to create to give the chance to satisfying solar installation. So we promoted and we obtained the chance to use areas out of the building, connected to the plant, to the building, to this area is an extension of the building, of the roof. So the one is the solar belt, the area around, so the area, even agricultural area, just after the industrial area, that can in which it can be built solar plants, can be built in a not too difficult way from the authorization point of view. And then even plants that arrive up to 10 kilometers of distance can be directly connected to the energy meter, to the electric system of the user through a line, avoiding all the transportation cost of the energy. So that's very important for industries. Up to 10 kilometers is quite a lot. And then there are even further options if we are going over the 10 kilometers, but we are still connected to the same primary cabin, the solar plant and the user. There are ways to make a convenient self-consumption, and this will for sure be analyzed during the conference in Rome. And then there are the energy communities that are not only for residential, but can include also C&I plants, increasing the amount of energy that can be shared. Now I tell you that the C&I market is also not so strong like before. Unfortunately, television is not talking anymore so much regarding the high electricity prices, even if they are still high. We are at more than the double than before, the time before the crisis. And this is impacting the perception to consumers regarding the energy issues. So the energy topics are not an emergency anymore like before. That's not good, because solar is still convenient. So also as Italia Solare, we are now working in preparing also a communication campaign to promote the solar and to awaken the sector, also for both residential and the C&I. What we need to give further impetus to the C&I sector? Well, the storage system is something that is too much not taken into consideration. It's important also for the grid. Because we talk a lot of the storage for residential, but absolutely not enough for commercial. Then another application, the C&I sector, that would need some support is for sure the PV carport application. Obviously, we know that the monthly system are quite expensive, and it's very rare to make this kind of plants because they are too expensive. And then the third that from our point of view is absolutely the most important is to create some financial tools or financial support, but in terms of state guarantees in favor of the banks that can provide loans to to the companies to make a PV plants, because commercial industrial companies use usually the loans from the banks to finance the cash flow and the recurrent business of the core business of the company. So if one is a company, small or medium company that are the big majority in Italy, decides to make a PV plant, goes to the bank, and the bank says, okay, but what you need for your plant will cover your financial availability in terms of loans, and this is limiting many companies in confirming this choice. So we need a state guarantee to facilitate these loans for the C&I. Talking about the renewable energy communities, we are waiting the final text from the European Commission, as in Brussels the decree is under examination of the Commission, the government decree, and before summer should arrive, so that everything will be then clear. We now know something from the draft that unofficially has been distributed. There are incentivized tariff for the energy, for the shared energy, and that is around 110 euro per megawatt hour, but we have to see then the final number. And obviously there are some also savings on energy costs for those who are members of the renewable energy community, because there are less costs in terms of transfer cost of the energy. And the target is to reach 5 gigawatt by the end of 2027. Then, not related to the decree, but related to the another plan that is foreseeing one-shot subsidy, repayable grant to the companies, to the renewable energy communities. This is interesting in terms of contribution. We are talking of 40% of the investment cost, but it's related, limited to the municipalities with less than 5,000 inhabitants. Then there are, in addition, there is a reduction of the tariff of the renewable energy community, the incentivized tariff of 40% less, minus 40%. But globally, it's for sure very interesting. And we have a target of 2.2 billion euro to be spent inside the recovery plan to reach about 2 gigawatt by June 30th, 2026. And so, as I said, this is cumulative with the incentivized tariff, but with the adjustment in terms of reduction. There is, I tell you, very big interest to renewable energy communities. All the municipalities are really deep inside, more and more inside this week, and many people and companies are preparing a lot of energy communities. Let's go now to the utility scale market, the last one. Interesting slide. I will keep it a little longer because I'm pretty sure you are very interested in this slide. Well, we have up to end of March, so Q1 23, accumulated power of connection requests that arrives to 316.3 gigawatt. 110 of them are from solar, 80 wind onshore, 125 wind offshore. So big wind offshore activity in the development activity in Italy. On the right, you can see the distribution region by region. Number one is Apulia, with more than 80 gigawatt, 83 gigawatt. Sicily and Sardinia are by far the three areas with the largest number of connection requests. And then there is a big jump to all the other, again, central and south Italy, Lazio, Basilicata, Calabria, Campania, there is one M2, too much. Molise, Toscana is central Italy, Abruzzo, again, central Italy, Marche is central Italy, but then Emilia-Romagna and all the other are north Italy. No, well, Umbria is central Italy. Very interesting, Lombardia is very low because everybody knows that Lombardia no authorizations to the ground installation are considered very easily, even for the agricultural land. Industrial, yes. So this makes us think something. Obviously, this is a number that is impossible to be reached. We, just to give you an idea, the target of Italy to reach the decarbonization is 200, about 200, between 210 and 270. There is a range, 210, 270 gigawatt by 2050 of solar. So let's talk about solar. This is less than the half of what we need. We have a 26 gigawatt already done. So it's theoretically, if we all this power would be installed, but it's impossible. It's will be 136. So, and then we need to make other 100. So we need a lot of power, but the point is the distribution. We see that something is not working too much in the South Italy, very difficult to be connected, and too low in the North Italy. Terna, as you probably know, the work of Terna is to transfer the energy, and it's okay from south to north because there will be more investment and there will be evidently higher interest of Terna to do this job. It can be done, but it takes years to bring a lot of solar energy from the south to the north. Obviously, we think also that a better balance is needed. Then we need for sure a better interconnection of all the country. So from this, then we can talk later on, maybe with the Q&A session. Okay, you can imagine what can be the decisions in terms of development strategy for new projects, because these projects already reserved in some way this connection power, this power, and some of them are already going on in the authorization process. So the point is quite big, because we can talk longer about that. And in the conference, again, I tell you, this topic will be better analyzed. Interesting to see in this graph, this is a Terna graph that Terna is showing during the conferences, in the conferences where the Terna representatives are taking part. We see the price zone is like we said before in the energy price graphs: center north, north, center south, Sardinia, Sicily, Calabria, and south. So these are the areas. As you can see, it's clear. Well, the left column is the column of the target or at 2030 of 55% of the cover with renewable of all the energy, primary energy. So we need these power in the different different price zone. But on the right, we have the connection request. So the central north is the blue one, Tuscany and the Marche. And we see that in these two regions is a lot. The capacity, the power actually requested compared with the target. The only one that in which we can see still the target that is higher than the connection request is north. but it's not so far, the balance. And the north, as you can see, are all these clearer regions. The central south are Umbria, Campania, Abruzzo, Lazio and Campania and Abruzzo. And this is again with the predominance of the connection requests. And then even more in south, Calabria, Sicily, and Sardinia. You can see the numbers, I don't repeat. So we have a target of plus 70 gigawatt by 2030, and we have 276 gigawatt in this. This probably was at the end of last year. Solar is again, obviously the orange one. So some information regarding the suitable areas. First of all, we are waiting and pushing the publication of the decree called Decreto Aree Idonee, in English, suitable areas. That is very important because it's what is really creating a lot of uncertainties and not easy situation. In this, with this decree, I remind you that the criterion to decide what is suitable, what not, will be clarified, and it will be used by the regions then to go more into details to say which are the areas in the region that can be suitable for the solar plant. By now we can say that we know that the La Via Nazionale, the environmental impact assessment, there is a commission that is really full of requests. It's for plants of bigger than 10 megawatt, and they should, that is the official declaration, scheduled to approve more than 10 gigawatt in 2023. But I remind you that once the Via Nazionale expressed his positive opinion regarding a project, it's not finished, and that project must be finally authorized by autorizzazione unica, single authorization that is released by the region. Theoretically, it should take a few weeks. Now we will see another slide about that, but not always it works. From our point of view, it's necessary to complete the local regulatory framework, identifying tools to bypass this region behavior in case the conferences are not done. Otherwise, the work is stopped. Then there are the suitable areas. A clear indication is needed for planning, and the suitable areas decree, as I said, is still expected. And this is helpful for all the process. I see that it's time to speed up. We are anyway close to the end. Talking about utility scale, it's normal now to talk about agri-PV plants, agri-photovoltaics. It's almost the only way to install PV now in the agricultural areas. There is again here a text from the Minister of the decree that is under the European Commission evaluation to understand what is agri-PV. We think that at the end the draft that was circulated will be approved with elevation or between above 1.3 meters for shepherd activity and 2.1 meters for and above for agricultural activity. These are the requirements, besides many other. It's a little complex regarding the use of the ratio between the space of the plant and the space for the agricultural land that will be cultivated. That should be 30-70. This is another requirement to be respected to allow the authorization or to, as agricultural agri-PV plant, and also to enter in some program. There is one plan always connected to the recovery plan that is foreseeing subsidies up to 40% of the whole cost for the innovative agrivoltaic plants, and the target is to install just a little more than 1 gigawatt by the middle of 2026. And then, in addition, there are 2 separate power quotas envisaged to access to the procedures. Well, 300 megawatt will be dedicated to agricultural sector for plants up to 1 megawatt. And another point is the importance of the inclusion of the agricultural companies together with the investor to create the context that will allow the access to the subsidies. I tell you that the agricultural lobby is very strong and is very successful in attracting subsidies and conditions in favor of them. I remind you that the solar belt, the 3 kilometers from industrial and commercial zones, that is a success of Italia Solare, it's always important to remind, allows the installation of agri-PV plant up to 10 megawatt with a simplified procedure that is the PAS, procedura autorizzatoria semplificata. Above, one has to ask the screening. If the screening says it's necessary the VIA, one has to go to the national VIA. And another topic, PV systems located in agricultural area is located outside protected areas or Natura 2000 network areas, again, environmentally protected area. These PV systems can be installed, but only if they are built directly by the agricultural entrepreneurs or in joint venture with investor, but with a structure higher than 2 meters. So again, the role of the agriculture companies is important. Simplification that arrived thanks to the recovery plan is, first of all, that we avoided the big risk because they made a terrible law that has been fortunately cancelled regarding the verification of archaeological interest that before was requested before the process was started. That is a mess. Fortunately, has been cancelled to go on with the environmental impact assessment. The threshold for this we worked a lot. So remember, Italia Solare is important to simplify and to be active when something bad happens. So if you are not a member, sorry, just a parenthesis, promotional parenthesis, please become a member and support the association in defending also your interest, besides a lot of advantages I mentioned before. The threshold for verification, the verification of the national environmental impact assessment have been raised up to 10 megawatt for projects in suitable areas and plants located in areas not classified as unsuitable, and to 20 megawatts for projects in industrial commercial zone in closed and restored landfills, so and in quarries that do not foresee further exploitation, so particular situations. Again, this is the last slide. No regulated building works. That's important for industrial and commercial zones, landfills and quarries. The work is considered ordinary maintenance, so quite easy process to install PV systems in the industrial and commercial zones in this area. That's up to 10 megawatt. So it's very interesting. And eligible areas, until otherwise regulated by regions, depends on the situations, are all areas without landscape constraints or considered eligible when the constraints are farther than 500 meters. That is important. Before it was 1 kilometer, but 500 meters has been considered at the end. No, there is also another one regarding the single authorizations. There are deadlines that have been introduced to conclude the procedure. 90 days in case of the absence of environmental procedure, 60 days after having received the positive environmental assessment. So this is, at least I gave a timeline, a time target, but it's not that if this is not respected, it's not automatically authorized, unfortunately. So we have to see how this will be useful. To conclude my presentation, we need more solar, but we are still facing different obstacles. For the residential plants, it's a matter of fact we assisted again to another stop and go market. So we are asking a mechanism that will be more stable and continuous in the years. Large ground-mounted plants in non-agricultural areas need some more clarification and interest in terms of fixed tariffs. We are asking that the tariffs of the MFR1 will be increased, maybe through the DMFR3, we will see the new one. The large plants in agricultural areas, they can have access to incentives only if they are advanced agrivoltaics. And it means that the ground-mounted plants can be authorized independently on incentives, but we are pushing that a fixed tariff can be applied, can be given also to these plants. Regarding agrivoltaics, there are still uncertainties. We'll see in the next weeks or a few months how it will develop. Again, for the ground-mounted plants, in general, we need an integrated test to give a clear picture regarding all the authorization procedures. Believe me, I'm also active in the development. It's very complicated, but it's possible. There are in Italy, I didn't write, but elements that is an important consulting company is monitoring, and they gave more than 5 gigawatt of plants already authorized. But we are not see them under construction, at least. We will see some of them probably. We have to see how to monitor better than these kind of plants. So there are, but not enough. All types of installations have a lot constraints with the connections. We need a lot of investments in new primary cabling, new lines, and here we can talk a lot. There are some local difficulties in making these jobs because the Terna and the e-distribution, and not only the other distributors as well, are suffering a lack of workers. So this is a reason why the reinforcement of the grid is going on not so quickly. So I finished. Again, I ask you to become member of Italia Solare and to register to the Solarplaza event in July. I will be present as well. Also the dinner before, there will be the dinner of the evening before. It's always a nice moment of networking. So
Paolo, you said it all.
I said what you sorry.
You said it all. You said no. That's a long time. Thank you, Paolo. Thank you for
many years. So.
Absolutely, absolutely, and it will be a pleasure to see you there. Allow me to take just some of the questions from the audience. Of course, a reminder to please send them in. Let's maybe start from the bottom. One was related to the conclusions, and specifically, we'd like to know what's your conclusion or your view for roof-mounted systems. We know also you briefly discussed about the proposal for the parking lots, the space, but where is the segment for the roof-mounted systems going, in your opinion, in Italy?
For sure, the factories, logistics, service companies in C&I roofs, there are still millions to be covered with solar plants. The financial topic is a key point, as I explained before. So it's important some support. But you know, we have for sure in the attendees some expert people that can think also some new business models. So then there is an importance of our communication. We have to explain to people, even if it can seem absurd, but that energy is still high. Now, it's not because television is not talking anymore about energy costs that, okay, the problem is solved. Because but really, we are registering a real change. When television was talking a lot, that our phones were ringing a lot. Now it's more calm. The news, TV news says that the gas price is going down. So people say, okay, if the gas price is down, we are fine. It's okay. We are buying nice gas from North Africa, and it seems that everything is done.
Of course, I agree with you here. Perception of say the public plays a big role. Let's move a bit into the utility segment here. We saw a bit the data of the connection requests. I mean, huge pipeline there. That's not something we're maybe too proud of. What mortality rate do you expect for these projects? Mortality rate, meaning how many projects that get permitted do not arrive in the COD phase. And what do you think today, this is a big question, but what do you think are the main causes for these projects not to move forward?
The main causes?
The main causes, yeah.
Well, I think that well, difficult to say what can be the mortality rate. I think basically it can be high because of the authorization constraints mainly. Now the connection is something precious now in Italy. If one has a good connection, it's something special, because if we make a new connection request, quite often, at least in the most with the high density request regions, the time of connection is 800, 900 days, so 2-3 years, because Terna says we need to make a primary cabin. But I tell you that even these 2-3 years, unfortunately, are optimistic, in my opinion, because the time needed to make these cabins is can be very much longer for many the reasons also I mentioned before, the people, the workers, and so on. So and something must be done from the government point of view. I think that we will arrive necessarily to some rules, and they will be the results of the decrees I mentioned, the suitable areas decree that necessarily will make some connection, some lands where the connection requests have been done and they are in the hands of the developer or of the investor, that will not be suitable. So this necessarily will create some issues. I don't see different scenarios, honestly. And the reason why they are not going on, again, first of all, is the authorization process. Then, for sure, there is a quota of this number that is pure speculation from people who are just taking land connection, but not very well organized, not organized companies, and not seriously interested in making a project, just then to bid this connection at the highest possible price.
Yeah,
and this is
exactly.
Sometimes can work, sometimes no.
And we know also how far the prices of projects went for some areas in Italy. Maybe with the sake of time, Paolo, we can take one more question, which was actually still related to the CNI segment, because we know there is a fair one incentive for this segment. To understand, do you think it will be continued? What kind of efforts, if any efforts, are made by Italia Solare to push perhaps for a new FAIR 2 incentive in this segment? How do you see that coming?
I'm pretty sure that it will continue. Well, first of all, we still have some gigawatt of available power to be supported with the MFR 1. So the tenders in some way the slots will continue. The next one is now in I think July, if I remember well. Sorry, maybe I'm wrong. I don't remember all. And then another by the end of the year. So, but the point is that we are pushing a new decree to improve the present one. I don't see drafts. I don't see so many rumors regarding this new decree. My feeling is that the minister says, okay, we still have the decree FAIR 1. Okay, we know we have to do another one, but we have other urgencies. So unless we don't finish the other urgencies, we go on with the existing DMFR 1, and then when we have time, we do we work to the next one. That's my feeling. Maybe I'm wrong, but well, I don't say they are not working on that, but for sure it's not something very hot, because usually when something is hot, the first person that is talking about it is the minister. It's himself. He's saying at the conference, saying, "Hey, we are working. We are ready to go to publish." He did it a lot with the energy community decrees, and we don't hear any announcement regarding the new DMFR. So I think we have to be patient.
Only rumor, yeah, exactly. Only maybe a few rumors. There are a lot of questions. What I will do perhaps is here is also, invite all of us who are testing us also to get in touch with Paolo directly, with Italia Solare. I mean, we will also be seeing each other on the 13th of July. Can remind also for you that joined, there is also a discount for the registration from you with some info. Again, we'll be sending all the slides, all the recordings, but really we talked about so many points and there are so many questions that on a lot of topics which go from agri incentives up to PPAs that of course let's say a full day conference perhaps is needed, right, to tackle all of this. So you'll excuse us if we won't take them all. But Paolo, thank you very much, because as always we like these concise overviews that go to the point and give a clear framework, and then of course we will have the right occasion and moments to deep dive into the specific topics.
Maybe the questions that for sure are very interesting can be forwarded to the speakers of Solarplaza.
We have them here, absolutely. So they are taken into consideration, totally, definitely, yes.
If we can help, we are available. Thank you very much, Nicola.
Thank you, Paolo. Thank you again, and thank you for all of those that who joined us today. Till the next one. Thank you again.
Bye.